conversations you avoid become your suffering. In other words, what we don't say, that which is unsaid, it hurts us, them, the world. Challenging conversations are how we create a better world. And in this video, I will share with you how you can actually do it in a way that works, that feels good, that takes what was suffering, or what takes a relationship that would have broken down and actually gets stronger and better. I take you back with me to I was 15 years old. I was on a flight back from Portland, Maine. I was with my mother, my father. He just died. We'd just been through the funeral. 3 of my 4 siblings were there. It was not a fun week, I can say that. And I was so exhausted on that flight. I was like, man, just get me out of this. Get me out of this. Meaning, get me out of my family. I just wanted to be normal, right? My father is alcoholic and so much pain and suffering and dysfunction in my family. On the flight, my mother says, Danny, she still called me Danny, bless her, I love her. Danny, I need to tell you something. I don't know how that is for you. I know that for me, if I hear someone say, I need to tell you something, ooh, that's not good. It's different from, hey, there's something I would love to tell you. So I braced, something I need to tell you. Your brother David came from a different man than your father. I'm sure she used a little bit different phrasing than that. What? Flashback. 2 years prior, I am in AP biology class, 9th grade, studying genetics. And I learned this really cool thing. You may know it already. Blue eyes come from recessive recessive and recessive recessive. Oh, so my father has blue eyes. My mother has blue eyes. Dana, Kelly, Casey, me, we all have blue eyes. David has brown eyes. Huh. Okay, well, we also learned in that biology class that sometimes there are genetic anomalies. Okay, maybe. Seems strange though. Carry on. You know, I'm doing my best to survive childhood. I'm a fat kid. I'm super shy, socially awkward, not so great a combination. So my mother says, something I tell your father, your brother comes from another man. And I think to myself immediately, like, oh, you people, what are you doing? And what they're doing was the best they could. And my mother and father, they came from an era where we don't talk about those things. These are things inside the family. If you haven't yet seen the movie Secrets and Lies, I wholeheartedly recommend it. And I give the caveat with my recommendation. Saw it a long time ago, decades at least. However, when I saw it, it was like, oh, that explains my childhood in ways. So imagine this now. Why does my mother tell me this, by the way? Why does she need to tell me? She needs to tell me. It gets better. She needs to tell me because my brother Dana said something to her during our post-funeral lunch. Little comment off to the side, because that's how we rolled in my family. Little comment off to the side of, by the way, I know that you were married before. Nobody else knew. It was a secret. Only Dad knew. He must have told Dana. So what does this mean? Well, if Dana knows and David still doesn't know, a lot of confusing D names. I know Daniel, Dana, David. If my middle brother knows, my oldest brother, half brother, we now know, doesn't know, well, my mother knows that he knows, which means he could tell him. Oh my goodness, you get what a complex weave this is. So she's telling me because she says, I need to tell David now, right? Because she doesn't want him to hear it from his younger brother, with whom maybe there's still some sibling rivalry, who knows? I'm much younger than all of them, so I'm sort of in a different world here. Anyway, my mother then says she needs to tell her son David, her first son, who came from a different man. And I'm just learning now, 1, he is a half brother, the genetics didn't lie. 2, that my mother and father didn't tell David his whole life that my father was not his father. I mean, like, I can barely spit it out, the complexity of all of that and what that results in. And I think now, even then I thought, my poor brother David, like, to grow up thinking that this guy's your biological father. But of course, everybody knows on some visceral level, like, something's not right here. And that's the big problem when we don't speak. That's one of the big problems when we don't speak the stuff out. We know something's not right here. Now, why do we do it? Why do we not speak the thing? Like, let's put ourselves in my parents' shoes. Why did they not tell my brother David? Right? And of course, I asked my mother that, like, why didn't you just tell him? Well, we were going to, when he was old enough. Right? And so this is, watch for this in yourself and others. Code for I didn't speak the truth, I held back. Code for the reason that's often spoken for that is I didn't want to hurt them. Sounds good. And there could be truth to that sometimes. You know, certainly sometimes when we speak something, it could hurt somebody. Now we could get into the semantics and the metaphysics of it. Nobody's hurt on their own. And hallelujah, I love Brad Blanton, who wrote a book called Radical Honesty, How Telling the Truth Will Change Your Life. I think that's the subtitle. I read that. just after my first big spiritual awakening, age 26. And it was like, whoa, so cool. Telling the truth will change your life. And it's absolutely truth. What do we know? If you speak the blank and it will blank you blank. Speak the truth and it will make you free. True. And at what cost? See, what I love about Brad Blanton is he pendulum swung us over here because as a society, as a culture, and I was a prime example of it, we don't tell the truth. We hold things in. We hold back. We lie to ourselves. We lie to others. I'm staying at my friend David Wolf's house right now, and we worked together 20-something years ago. We were doing these health events, and he was well known in the raw food nutrition world at that point. And he would say, what's the biggest problem, biggest disease facing the world now? People would be like, cancer, diabetes, obesity. Anyway, he would say, nope, constipation. Constipation. And holy moly, he ain't wrong. Constipation. And of course, he was speaking about physical and the foods that we eat that block us up and how we can change that, which might be a video for another time. I'm speaking about emotional, verbal, spiritual, relational constipation, because we don't say that thing. And if we don't say that thing, it's in here, and that's not nothing. That matters. It changes things, and not for the better. My parents, they didn't want to hurt my little brother. I mean, my older brother, who was little at the time, they didn't want to hurt him. Really, most of the time when we say I didn't want to hurt them, which may be true, the bigger issue is I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. Discomfort, pain, same thing, just different degrees. I don't want to feel a pain. And what would be the pain that they would feel? Well, one, conditioning. In those days, you don't talk about those kind of things. Two, you don't talk to those kind of things about with kids. Three, this would mean that my mother was married before my father. In fact, this would mean that when my father met my mother, it doesn't have to mean this, though it did. She was a young woman, single, with a baby, which we still have some stigma about that these days. Imagine back when that was happening for them in the 60s, early 60s, that was a bad look. Plus, they had that Catholic condition, which is you never get divorced, or it was. So there are a lot of reasons why they were uncomfortable, right? What is it going to mean? What are other people going to think? That's a rough one. Okay, so they had their reasons. We always have the reasons, which always boil down to I don't want to be uncomfortable. This might be challenging. Principle that applies here and everywhere is a little bit of conscious, intentional pain is so, for even a lot of it for a short duration, is so much better than avoiding it, not saying it, not doing that thing, not eating the frog, because avoiding a chunk of discomfort for a short duration creates such a long time of discomfort. That's what creates mediocre monotony, the cult of meh. So I will share with you specifically how to have a conversation that gives you the feeling inside like, oh, I don't feel good. I don't want to do this. I want to avoid this. Which is not something, by the way, that I grew up knowing how to do. When I was a junior in high school, for the first time in my life, I developed friendships because shy, socially awkward, fat kid, I discovered that I could use what I had developed in my family, this incredible skill called sarcasm, in order to make people laugh. Right? And people would laugh and think I was clever, both at the same time. Some people started to want to hang out with me. Cool. Except I remember this moment so clearly, my senior year of high school. My friend Matt Jones, tuba player, he told me clearly from a place of hurt and anger. He's like, I don't like being with you. Probably said it differently. I don't like hanging out with you. I was like, whoa, dude, I thought we were friends. Like, what's up? And he's like, well, because you're funny. But every time you're funny, somebody gets hurt. And that was me a few minutes ago. And so I always know that I'm on guard, I'm braced. Oh, that hurt. That was the moment that launched me into becoming a recovering sarcastaholic. I went through a period of severe abstinence. It was hard. I got the DTs. In that process, I learned to speak a different way, to tell the truth about what I'm feeling. Okay, thank you, Matt. Let's double check where we are in our outline. I believe we are right on track. Yeah, so we got a sense of why we withhold. What's the effect prior to watching Secrets and Lies? What's the impact? When we don't speak, don't say that thing, which could be a really small thing, by the way. Like, I'll give you an example. 2 days ago, I was at my friend's house on Maui, and a woman came over who was going to be cleaning the house. We just introduced ourselves. I was in the kitchen doing something. She was over here lifting something up. And I just glanced over her and I was like, look at those arms. She had like these super buff arms, and she was probably around my age. And so I said to her, "Hey, Jenny, did you get buff like that just by cleaning? Or do you do something else?" What happened in that moment? Well, I said it in a way that was intended as a compliment. Happily, she received it as a compliment also, and we had a little connection moment. We had some jokes, some fun, and then I said, "Oh, you probably know about the Harvard Maid study," and she didn't, so I told her about that awesome, amazing thing. What would have happened if I hadn't said that? Verbal constipation. Would it have been life-changing? No. It's a habit, though. It's a habit of not saying the thing. I know, because I've had that habit at times in my life. What happens when I do say the thing? Something happens. There is a creation from that. And so my speaking to her was one, because it's a rule for me. If it's there, speak it, right? Not willy-nilly, not for no reason. I knew that my desire to speak it was generous, like I'm giving a compliment. Two, genuine. I was curious, like, wow, that's cool. Just a flash of thought. And one of the principles I live by is always follow a generous impulse. And I just realized as I was preparing for you today, part of where that came from. Probably about 20 years ago, I read an amazing book called Leadership and Self-Deception. Leadership and Self-Deception. And in it, I learned this principle that when we have an impulse to help somebody, to speak a kind word to someone, and we don't follow it, what happens? We feel badly because we just denied this flow, this generous impulse. We feel badly because we blocked the flow of life. That's not what we're here for. We're here to be with the flow of life. So we feel badly, and this is all unconscious, of course, and then unconsciously, they're the source of our discomfort, our feel bad. So then we will, again, unconsciously find a way of diminishing them, right? Because we were here, then we had this generous impulse, which was up here to give something. We didn't speak it, and now there's an imbalance, right? We feel bad because we didn't speak it. So then what happens? We find a way to pull them down. And if you want to go deeper into this, another amazing book, The Hidden Symmetry of Love. He's the guy who founded Family Constellations, brilliant, amazing work. When I had my first experience with family constellations, which is so good for everybody because everybody has a family in one way or another. When I first had the experience with family, it was so powerful. I was so awakened. And fascinatingly enough, I hadn't thought of this until now. It had to do with my brother David's birth and all of the things around that, which I didn't even know about at the time. Leave that for another time. I had this amazing healing through family constellations. Bert Hellinger, that's the guy's name. Bert Hellinger, who founded that channel, that whatever, also wrote a book called The Hidden Symmetry of Love. Huge book. I loved it. One of the great principles from that is that there is a hidden symmetry to love, to relationship. There is an equilibrium, just like water always finds its level. In relationships, we're always doing this too. If I give something to you generously out of love, if I say, "Frank, I love you, my friend. Here's my favorite bracelet." What's going to happen for Frank? Frank might say, "Thank you." He might say, "I don't want it." All the kinds of things could happen. And this is slightly different than, because you might be thinking this, slightly different than Robert Cialdini, and he spoke famously about the law of reciprocity. We give something and then somebody feels the need to give back. Yes, that's true. There's a deeper cut here, though, with the hidden symmetry of love. I give this to Frank, and then Frank has a natural impulse to give back from love. If my giving to him is from generosity for him, not for me, if it's for him, then what naturally arises in him is a desire to give in love, right? So by the same token, as we spoke about earlier, if he becomes constipated, if he doesn't speak or do or follow that impulse to give out, because speaking is just one form of that, as we know from the 5 love languages. If he denies it, if he holds it back, then similarly, he will have the need to bring me down in some way. Well, he just gave that to me because he didn't want it. Or he just gave that to me because he thinks he owes me, whatever. This is the second principle here. When we don't speak, give, we will have some form of constipation, resentment, disharmony in the relationship, avoiding that person, pulling them down in some way. So subtle yet so powerful and so important. And I believe that brings us to our third principle, which I love for you because this is one of my favorites. and it's hilarious also. And this ties right in directly to how we actually speak the thing that's uncomfortable. Because I don't mean to make light of it in any way. It's a challenging thing that most of us did not get in school. I sure didn't. How to have challenging conversations, how to speak when it's uncomfortable. When I first went to Humaniversity, Radical Therapy Center in Holland, aka Hugging University, Addiction Recovery Center, a full-fledged university. One of the very first things I learned there was the rules of dating, which are simple. One, always go for your first choice. Always go for your first choice, which we'll go into more deeply another time. Still though, that implies, well, I'm not even gonna say it, it opens up too many cans of worms. We're gonna touch that one because right now we go to the second one, which is second rule. It's only 2 rules. Second rule is if they say no, ask why. Let that land for a moment. If they say no, ask why. Woo. Right. Before you get the full impact of that, I share with you a couple of preconditions that existed, whether they knew about Gandhi or not. The preconditions were, 1, we tell the truth. In that culture, we tell each other the truth best we can. And Gandhi put this together from Sanskrit or Pali. We tell the truth. What's the word for it? Satya. Satya. Truth comes from sat. Sat is essence, being. The truth of who we are, our sat. And satya is the speaking out or the expression out. Another word, right? The expression, take what's inside and express it. That's satya. So we had the cultural assumption in Humaniversity that we tell the truth. And this is where they took it a step beyond Brad Blanton. Brad Blanton, radical honesty, he said, tell the truth, the full truth, unedited truth. And if they're hurt, that's their problem. Yes, technically it's true, right? If I say you're an idiot to that person and I say to that person you're an idiot, then one might be hurt, one might not. So it is them. However, it's also not quite right because if they have a problem, I have a problem. 1, because it's in our relationship. 2, because deeper truth, they are me. Right? So that's where we say satya together with ahimsa. Ahimsa, often translated as nonviolence, even better, it's love, intense love. So the cultural assumption at Humaniversity underlying the rules of dating are honesty, satya, and ahimsa, intense love. Now, I wasn't actually, I didn't think I was preparing for this conversation. I've been thinking about it, and I was on a plane, and I'm reading an amazing book about Gandhi, and I didn't know, like I knew about satyagraha and nonviolent, what do we say that, cooperation. I didn't know how important for him, though, was the practice of satya and ahimsa together. And I've spoken about this for decades. And to me, that's the core of the yogic teachings. It's the core of life. It's the core of relationships. And we often think of yoga as this physical training. That's cool too, right? And it's a cool philosophy too. The breathing stuff, awesome. Meditation, awesome. Deeper, more important practice for awakening. Satya and ahimsa together, both at the same time. Not just I say the thing that's true, and if you're hurt, it's up to you. Or it's not the other way around either, which is, I don't want to hurt them, so I'm just going to not say it. That's maybe nice, but it's not kind, it's not loving. So the truth without love, it's hurtful. Right? Love without the truth, it's also hurtful in just a different way. So rule number 2 of dating is, you remember, if they say no, ask them why. And I don't know how that is for you. For me, really scary what's going to happen if they say no. And I ask them why. They're going to tell me, what are they going to tell me? Exactly why they rejected me. What's wrong with me? Well, that's for most of us, that's a first thought. 1, they're saying no isn't a rejection, though that's how we're trained to think. Because here's the miracle. This is so cool, y'all. What you can find out if you say, well, why? Would you tell me why? A whole bunch of reasons why they said no, most of which probably have nothing to do with me. It might be, thank you, I am not dating anybody. And by the way, at Humaniversity, dating was defined as an agreement to spend time with someone. And they encouraged it. They encourage dating because it's in relationship that we find out a whole lot about ourselves. So we might find out that they're not dating anybody, or we might find out they're in a monogamous relationship, or they have an agreement that they don't spend time with other people, or I'm leaving for the airport in 5 minutes. Right? Nothing to do with me. Or just got out of a relationship with a dude who shaves his head and wears blue shirts all the time. Just looking at you, it freaks me out. So in any of those, I'm going to be like, well, no, actually had nothing to do with me. However, let's get to the juicy part, because what if it does? It might. Last story I share with you here, my very first time at University, a guy joined the program who I thought was really cool. I thought he was a man, like a manly man. He was super strong. He seemed like a tough guy. And he asked this woman, he's from Germany, Manfred, and he asked this woman who's from Israel to have a date with him. She said no. He said, why? She said, because, and this, he told me this, she said to him, because when we hug, that was also part of the curriculum there, hugging University. When we hug, I feel like you're trying to get something from me. How does that land for you? Like when I heard him tell me that, I was like, oh, right. Just imagining if a woman said that to me, I'd feel horrible. Right? And I'm sure women have said that to me because I've made the same mistake. Said it to me in one way or another. I don't want anybody to think that I'm just trying to get something. She didn't say just. That was kind of the feeling she had. Manfred, I give him so much credit for being something that's even more impressive than the muscles, put it that way, which doesn't make mature masculine. He did some amazing things, two amazing things. One, his response to her was, what do you think he said? Thank you. Those were the instructions we were given. Whatever reason they tell you, say thank you. Thank you. And that teaching became one of the core aspects of my feedback philosophy. Thank you. The second thing he did is he let it in. Because when we get feedback, sometimes we don't want to let it in because, oh no, that means I'm bad. Shame, right? And shame is the cause, the root of so much of not saying the things, leaving things unsaid. My mother, ashamed that she was married before. Now, mostly, we know, no big deal, right? She was a woman with a baby and she was single. Okay, happens all the time. Doesn't mean you're bad. Right? But in her mind at that point, with the conditioning that she had, it meant she was bad. And someone says, hey, I don't want to go out with you because what would be the ones that would hurt for me? You're too old. You seem lazy. You're arrogant. You seem lazy. No, people don't say that to me, but things that I judge myself for, let's put it that way. I might judge myself for. And even that, I just realized as I spoke it, you're old. Like, oh, do I have some judgment on that? Huh, okay, gonna look at that. So we might not want to hear the feedback, and so we don't ask. Here's the second thing that Manfred did. So cool. He took it in and he looked inside and he said, how is that true? How is that true? And he found it. He found inside himself where, you know what, she was right. He felt she was right. Yeah, I was doing that. And he changed. And this is so powerful because sometimes changing happens just from seeing. I think it was Krishnamurti said, observation is transformation. Sometimes when we see the thing, oh, that doesn't work. I don't like doing that. I don't want to do that. And that's one of the reasons why speaking it out is so powerful. Why speaking the thing is so useful, because we see it. When we speak it, we hear it, and we understand it on a different level. When we express it, expression is instantaneously transformative. So how do you do it? Let's get to that. So simple framework. I'm going to give it to you in 3 easy steps. One, know why and share why. Why? That's number 1. Why? Hopefully, through this conversation, my speaking with you, you know why it's important, it's useful. Hopefully, you understand that it's not just a suffering, it actually creates greater love in the world, speaking the thing. If we do it well. Can you do it well yet? Could I do it well when I started? No. Can I do it well now? I don't know. I can do it better tomorrow than I can do it today. So 1, know why. I'm doing this because if I don't, I suffer, they suffer, the world suffers. 2, 1.5, tell them why. Hey, Jenny, I want to share something with you. I would love to share something with you. Can I share something with you? Better share than there's something I need to tell you. There's something I would like to speak. Would that be okay? Because, here's the why, because I value you. I value our relationship. I value the harmony, the love in our relationship more than I value withholding this thing. I value our relating more than the discomfort that I feel in the tendency to hold it back. I value us more than whatever discomfort you might feel. I care about us, right? And so that leads us to number 2, lower the bar. Because I don't know how it lands for you. For me, when I really got clear on this yogic philosophy applied into human relationships, satya and ahimsa, honesty and love together, right? It's not, I'm going to be honest now and then I'll be loving later. No, it's both together, both and. When I got that, and having grown up so much in that world of sarcasm, what does sarcasm mean, by the way? Do you know? Sarcasm, the tearing of the flesh. Irony, though, is fun. Saying the unexpected when there isn't a barb within it. Okay, so we lower the bar because I don't want to hurt anybody, right? So I'm going to, and I grew up from a lifetime of either withholding the truth or convoluting it in a joke. That doesn't work well. It hurts. So what's different? One is withhold it. Two is project my junk. Three is both and. So I'm going to tell the truth and I'm going to be loving at the same time. Well, that seemed really hard to me. How do we do that? Because I want to tell the truth. And if I tell the truth, I think they're going to be hurt. And I might tell the truth in a way that actually does feel hurtful to them. So lower the bar means create a listening in them by, hey, Jenny, I'm going to say something which is difficult for me to speak, and I might not be that good at it, and I might mess up. So I hope you could bear with me. Will you bear with me here? And what happens in the person you're speaking to when you say, hey, I care about you so much, I want to say this thing. Could I do that? And then you say, and I might do it badly. I hope that's okay. What does that do? It creates a listening in them such that they're much more likely to be like, okay, yeah, bring it on. They don't expect us to be perfect. They're listening because they're like, wow, this dude cares about me, cares about us. And why else? What else creates a listening in them? And because we all do this, we all have the tendency to avoid conflict, not to want to say the thing. So we tend to hold back. And so when somebody models for us, oh, they got some courage, they're going to say this, they got courage, they got love, creates a listening in them. So one, why? Two, lower the bar. Three, do your best to speak the thing through ownership. Own it. What does that mean? The story that I've been making up is every time you walk by and you don't look at me, means you're mad at me. The story I make up, my hallucination is whatever form of it you want to use. Like what we're doing is we're owning our own upset. This is what I think is going on, right? And whether we're upset or not, we're speaking. If we're uncomfortable, it's because we're upset in some way. And it might be, oh, I have my earphones in. I didn't even realize you were there when I walked by. Oh, okay. Speak the thing. Speak the thing the best you can with a lowered bar, owning it. Best you can speak it without making them wrong. And if you make them wrong some, that's why we lower the bar. Well, we mess up. You don't like me. My hallucination is you don't like me. Right? Started by owning it, but then I didn't own it when I projected it. And if you do that, I promise you this, your life will be better in so much ways. Yes, you will poop better, less constipation. Also, you will have more energy because every time we hold back, physical constipation, emotional constipation, verbal constipation creates the suppression of energy. You'll have more energy. Relationships will improve. You'll feel a greater sense of freedom. Yeah, I can say that thing. I can do anything. And even better, our world becomes a more beautiful place. And you get to help others learn how to speak the things that are challenging, to withhold nothing, to live from generosity. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Share with somebody something that's uncomfortable today and always, best you can. And you get better and better every time you do it. We're on our way to mastery. Thank you. I love you. Please keep making your life a masterpiece.